Hi everyone, bonjour tout le monde. This is an English speaking channel mostly, but sometimes you will find also some videos in French. This time it is in English, but I will drop a few French words from time to time, so don't worry. This video on Greg's Whiskey Guide is a bit different from the previous one, and especially the one about Port Charlotte and Brora, where lots of things are not affordable and even possible to reach, to grab for many of you guys, and I totally know that. And I'm also, since I started in my website, I always has this thing in mind. Okay, I got a lot of experience. Okay, I tried a lot of things. I had the chance to try a lot of high-end things. But as for other things, which is whether it's painting or music, the more you get to know things, I consider the more you get also to relativize the things you have tried before, or the things that are simply low shelf supermarket stuff, low budget whiskies, and even me, and not even me, I shouldn't say even me, because I'm not a rich man. I did collect this for a long time. I did do a lot of sacrifices to get all this whiskey collection. That's quite numerous now, even if it's ridiculous compared to the biggest collectors of the world. But by this introduction, I want to say to you, I also cover cheap whiskies or affordable whiskies, and it is important as for you as for me, and it's a kind of humility, humble exercise, but also as I'm passionate about blending lots of things, and everything that's on the table is blended, not blended whiskey but blended. There's no single cask in there, and the purpose here of my videos to present to you mainly, but you will see probably around 12 whiskies or 14 whiskies, but mainly my goal here is to present you 5 whiskies that I recommend to you to start your whiskey journey if you're not a big connoisseur in whiskey. And both share for me sweetness, like I wrote down here, balance, category representative whiskey, and of course good value for you guys. So I will start by a few honorable mentions of whiskies that couldn't make it on the list. Of course there could be plenty other choices here, so it's a selection, it's an option, it's a personal choice, right? And I'm wearing this Compass Box t-shirt because it's a review about non-luxury whiskey. Yeah, so the opposite, exact opposite of the previous one, but it's life, and it's also my contradictions and also my ability to show you different things. Honorable mentions that didn't make the list because it is mostly available, I think, in the French market, is this Aberlour triple cask, which is basically bourbon, sherry, and several kind of treatment. Let me took something to make it higher. There you go. So it's a kind of variation of the double cask. So it's a fût de chêne américain ayant contenu du bourbon, chêne européen, sherry, et ouais, grosso modo. Yeah, so for the English audience is American oak, having held bourbon, and also European oak, having held sherry. And this is not very clear, but they say 2 types of American oak. So I guess probably first fill, refill, or maybe some hogshead and some barrels. So nice whiskey, and like everything I'm going to present you today is almost less than 35 maximum euros. So probably I'm not living in the UK or in the USA or elsewhere, so probably you should find those around 20-25 pounds. Don't bash me if it's more expensive. I know more about French market than about other markets. This is normal, but I see prices here and there from time to time, so check it out. And that's why I will also give you alternatives, right? So this is an honourable mention. Another one about Irish whiskey, because I will speak about Irish, is this one. I could have picked this one instead of the Blackbush I picked in my selection, but I thought this one is really easy to find, and all are easy to find, I mean almost, but this you probably already had tried it. And this very easygoing, smooth, triple distilled whiskey, all creamy vanilla notes, some citrus fruit, very natural and artificial caramel, okay, but beautiful, very nice, and it goes very well on ice. Today we're gonna also break some cliches about whiskey and some maybe sometimes too elitist behaviors, or see, so I'm trying not to give any advertisement, but it's difficult. So what I mean is I'm going to show you things that you already know, things you might not know, and for me, I'm not speaking this with any prejudice about the brand, about the style, etc. I might have for some, but I'm picking exactly what I think could be good for you to start your whiskey journey. So then after an honourable mention about single malt Scotch whiskey. Not gonna go too far in the categories here, explain too much. There's a lot of on my website. You can go on my website, you can go see some of my introductory videos. Basically, this is a current Highland Park 10 years old at 40%. There are batch variations with this one, also with the others, but this is not a super great bottling, while 2 years ago another batch of this, so another release, more recent release if you prefer, was rated quite high by some famous reviewers. But this one is average, so you have probably more chance to pick one better now than the one I had a few years ago. So go for it, but with some reservation. Of course, another should be on the list, but I decided to pick a different choice, a bit provocative. Of course, this one I recommend. Not necessarily as an introductory whiskey, as it's a bit smoky. Some other are smoky on the table, but it's more complex than the ones are not on the table, I guess, and maybe it's for your next step. Highland Park 12, great value. Another super great whiskey, fantastic value, and really wonderfully made, but Wiser's Deluxe from Canada, which is a blended whiskey with a lot of grain whiskey, but of exceptional quality, very smooth. Problem of this is I found this very quite old bottle in some shelf. The distribution was very bad and is still very bad, though this belongs to Pernod Ricard, which is absolutely crazy. But if you can, where you live, find this. This is really beautiful, very nice introductory whiskey, appetizer, anytime. Probably less for digestive. Many of these are mostly for aperitif whiskey, but you can have as you wish. There's a lot of things on the ground now. So now I will start to show you my choices and explain you why, and then I will give you alternative options if you don't find them, right? So first one, I'm going from the smoothest to the one that has maybe more character, though all have their say here. I'm going to try to keep it short. Blackbush, triple distilled Irish whiskey with some more sherried is Xérès in French, more sherry cask than the usual original that I showed you. This is still a blended whiskey, there's grain and malt. This has more red fruit. This is very delicate, this is sweet, but this is very well balanced and does the job. So really recommend this Irish BUSHMILLS whiskey. Honourable mention because I'm not sure it's not discontinued. Not the Jameson brand, but this version, I hope it is not, which is the Jameson, the blended whiskey from Ireland, also triple distilled, Caskmates. This is a limited release, and this one is among the Caskmates range, the stout edition expression, which means this has been this whiskey has been finished his maturation in cask that previously held some stout beer, such as Guinness, for instance. Not sure it is Guinness, but it's the most probable. It's possible, let's say. Okay. Beautiful, very creamy, some dark brown sugar and chocolate note, a bit of caramel. Very easy sipping, beautiful one, around 25-30 euros. Then we're going to move to Scotch blended whiskies. Blended whiskies, mostly that means you have most of the content is grain whiskey, and what we mean in Scotland by grain whiskey, mainly this means corn, maize, or maize if you prefer. 75% among of corn, and 25% approximately of single malts. That means, for instance, you will see this later on, whiskies from a single distillery doing malted barley, distilling malted barley, right? This you probably know very well. Some people, even some connoisseurs, will say this is bullshit. I don't agree. There are a lot of batch variation of this, of course. But you can find on regular basis consistent batches of this. This is sweet. This is also a bit smoky. Warning for the people who start your whiskey journey, you don't like a lot of smoke. But I consider this is one of the most beautiful introductory whiskey to blended whiskey. Believe me or not. Some beautiful citrus fruit and tropical notes sometimes. Caramel, some light smoke on the background. If you don't like smoke, this is probably not for you, but it is sweet enough to maybe speak to you. This is one of the oldest blended whiskey that was around, with another one I'm going to show you in a minute. There's a whole range of this. I will add a link maybe if you want to know more about Johnnie Walker. I did a big topic on my website, and some parts are in English as well. When it's very good, when the batch, the release if you prefer, is good, I will surprise you, but this is the best to be consumed with ice. And if you can, mineral water ice, or otherwise if you have big chunks of ice, not too many, but in order to be less easily getting liquid in your glass, and so it will refresh your whiskey, but it will not probably easily be drowned into water. So the idea is to get a progressive. So you can use what we call an ice ball, but it might be already a bit too geeky for you. So use a rather big chunk of ice and not getting over too much the glass, maybe at this level, not more. This will give you an idea of how fresh, nicely herbal, nicely citrusy, nicely caramelly malty and a bit smoky this can be. Okay. Other option to this is obviously the concurrent from Pernod Ricard, Ballantine's, and yes, the finest, because even if there are also batch variations, and I had some that were very average, on a regular basis as well there are beautiful ones, and this is also delicately smoky. This is a bit more malty, a bit more oaky, but this is still tempered. This is very nice on ice. This is nice as well. So this is an affordable alternative. Moving on now to whiskey from the United States, we have this, which is basically a kind of bourbon that's called Tennessee whiskey, because it's filtered through maple charcoal, and I forgot the word, oak, let's say, pieces of woods. They do a big fire, and then they put this into a big vat, and I forgot the name, in which it's 3 meters high, and the liquid passes in there to mellow it. So it's a sweet filtration that's particular to Jack Daniels. This is not the number 7, the one you find everywhere. I think this one is more interesting before getting to more expensive ones. This is double filtered, double mellowed, like they say. So sweetness of the caramel, there's some tropical notes, a bit of banana, but not so much. It has some maple, of course, flavor. This is sweet. This is good, neat, or on ice, or a cocktail also. You can do some nice, probably Manhattan, even if the regular one might be more indicated for that, or the rye one, which is nice as well. I recommend Jack Daniels rye. If you can't find this one, you can pick the regular number 7 Jack Daniels, but you can also take this, which is more a bourbon on the bourbon side, triple distill. Usually it's less, but Woodford Reserve, this is an old edition, normally it's 43.2. I also recommend you, and it's all these are for now under 30-35 maximum euros. Where do I have next? Trying to keep it single malt from Scotland. There's a lot of options. Like I said, the Aberlour triple cask, the Aberlour 10, the Aberlour 12 maybe, not necessarily my favorite. This one you're not hearing a lot about this, that's why I wanted to highlight it, but it's a supermarket blend. Not talking too much here about ABVs, chill filtration, natural color. I don't want to bother you too much with this. The question here once again is sweetness, flavor, representative of the distillery, and good value and nice balance. This is a beautiful, a bit coastal whiskey with some nice caramel, natural, and a bit artificial. Okay, nice malted notes, also some nice herbal, floral, and sweet spices. Quite a lightly peppery finish. I love all the range, the core range that I will do a rundown at some point. The 10, the 12, the 18. This one I had it on a promotion on around 21 euros, but it was around 23 euros. Gentleman Jack was around 25. Blackbush almost the same. Red Label is cheaper, 15, 18. Beautiful Highland Scotch single malt from the Macduff distillery, and it's called the Devon now. It has changed name. Affordable option, but I talked too much about this that I wanted to change. But of course, the one that beats almost everything, because it's a no age statement, it's around 6-7 years old. It's the Glenmorangie single malt Scotch whiskey from the Speyside region. And it's full of flavors. It's a beautiful whiskey to start your whiskey journey with. Lots of character, floral, fruity notes, some apples and pears. slightly oaky because it's still young, some spices, some hay. Very nice whiskey, and it goes also, I will surprise you, well on ice. Now I wanted to finish with a world whiskey. When I mean world whiskey, I mean not the one of the 4 or 5 countries that started the whiskey history. That means Ireland. We have Ireland on the table. Scotland, we saw Scotland on the table. Then United States, and we saw it. Canada, you saw it as well. And normally I should pick France. But about affordable options, I'm sorry to say for now I don't see really ones under 30-35 euros really satisfying in my opinion, or enough consistent in sourcing to find them easily. That's why I didn't pick one. But I will speak again about French whiskies. So I picked up one I had recently for 23, or yeah, it was a bargain, but normally it was around 30 euros, and it's an OH statement single malt from India. Yes, the Raj Igala is the name of the version, and Amrut is the distillery, and it's in Bangalore, and it uses malted barley from the Himalaya mountain, and I think this is one of the best representative whiskey, affordable one and still good, to show you what is malted barley, because it's 100% malted barley like this one, while this one is made of corn, and we saw about the others. So this is a good introductory to really feel you're in a maltery, in a malt warehouse, let's say, or in the distillery, visiting the first process rooms for brewing and mashing and all that. So I thought it was a nice one. I don't remember if it's not really smoky, but it's a very easy-going one. Of course, it's less singularity than this, but I think it could be a good start if you want to know about other countries producing whiskies. Prior to India, of course, the other country I should have mentioned, because they produce whiskey since 1924, let's say in the 1929, the 1930s basically. So the first versions of course, Japanese whiskey. We having a crisis about Japanese whiskies. I will speak again. I already spoke again several times, but this one is, let's say, a good option, and where you can be, let's say, not 100%, but you can be, let's say, enough sure that there are some Japanese whiskies in there, because many, unfortunately, bear non-Japanese whiskies and not necessarily publicly sourced or mentioned. The Nikka, the Asahi group, a beer group that owns Nikka company, we know they put some in. This is a blended malt, by the way. There's 2 single malts, let's say like this, in there, but they might probably have others. They might be the ones they own, such as Ben Nevis. But I still consider, even if it has become a OH statement, this is a nice introductory, full of character. Very, very slightly smoky. For those who don't like, I think it's still bearable. But I recommend this one, even if there are batch variations, once again. So this one's around 35 euros. But it's an alternative, because I hope you will be able to find this or the other one, but depends on the countries now, mostly. So there you have it, presentation of some whiskies that I recommend to start your whiskey journey, or just the step above it, before getting into 40, 70 euros or pounds whiskies. I think it could be a good introduction. Of course, some connoisseurs will not be happy about chill filtration caramel, but this is not the point of this video. So I hope you found this interesting. Subscribe if you want to know more about whiskey and you don't know this channel. Give me a like, thumbs up, click the notification bell to know about other videos I will do. And if you have questions and you're more discovering whiskey, please put them in the comment section. I will add some references in the description and some links. And see you soon, hopefully. Bye bye. Have a good day.